Okay, now that we've become familiar with our artist of choice, we're going to create a coffee mug in the style of that artist. First thing that you need to do is you need to roll one of these tubes in a piece of fabric and then push in the two ends of that fabric. After you've rolled it, you need to get your coils. We're going to do our coffee mugs as a coil pot, just like we did with our coil pencil holders. So we're going to roll out these coils. Now, to roll them out so that they don't get little on one end and small, you roll them out with two hands going back and forth, back and forth. Then you're going to scrub up the bottom and you're going to scrub up the coil, and you want to make sure you can see the lines when you do the scrubbing, so scrub nice and hard with this toothbrush, and then you wrap it around your tube. And then you're going to make another coil, and watch how I use both hands, and I go all the way to the left and all the way to the right with both hands to make sure I get a nice even coil. And when your coil gets too big, just break it off and roll it out, because you want your coils to be as thin as a pencil. So grab a pencil or a pen and make sure that your coil is thin as a pencil. Again, when it gets too long, just break it off and roll it out again. Scrub, scrub, scrub. What we're doing is we're creating those score lines, and the water is creating slip. And you can see I didn't roll that on, or I didn't put that coil on very well, but I'm going to show you how I fixed that in a few minutes. I'm going to continue to roll out these long coils and breaking them off as they get too long so that they're nice and thin as a pencil. Thin as a pencil, not quite. Roll it out just a little bit more. Thin as a pencil, nice and even all the way across so that it's not bumpy on one side and really thin in the middle. So see, I've got that bump there. Remember, this is a three-dimensional object, so you want to spin it all the way around so that you can see the front and the back. So watch how I take my coil, and I'm actually going to spin around the tube on my plate here. So I'm spinning my plate so that I coil it around and it's all nice and even. And then I take one of those coils I've already started and I just start rolling it out. Measuring it with my pencil. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Remember, you want to be able to see the lines that your toothbrush makes, and you want it to be nice and wet but not dripping wet. And then when you have it about, you're going to measure it, and you want it to be between 3 to 4 inches, and you're going to take your hands and you're going to smush it onto the tube. Now we want to rub out all of those coils, starting from the bottom and working our way up. We're pulling up the clay from the bottom. So you want your finger to be a little bit wet, and you can just use your water cup, wet your finger, and smooth out all those coils so that your coffee mug is now nice and smooth. That will give us a nice smooth drawing surface later on. So again, you just want to make sure that this outside here is really smoothed out and you can't see any coil lines. We're going to move on to making the handle. I'm going to roll out another coil, but you do not want it to go on like a C. You want it to, like the letter C, you want it to go on like a question mark. See how this looks like a question mark here? And then we're going to use something a little bit more sturdy than our toothbrush. We're going to use a fork, and we're going to make those slip lines. And we're going to use some score lines, and we're going to use some slip. This is just watered down clay, really watered down clay. And you're going to paint it on, and you're going to squish that handle on. And you have to make sure your tube is still inside your coffee mug to squish on that handle really completely. Then, once you have that handle on really, really well and you've smoothed it all out, you can pull out your tube by opening up the fabric, and then you can pull out the fabric. Then you can take that slip and you can paint the slip onto the inside to get rid of your coil marks. Now see how I've got my other hand pressed up against the outside to make sure that my coffee mug doesn't get warped as I'm painting this slip. And you can go up and down, and you can go back and forth to try to get rid of those coil marks. And you don't want those coil marks in your final. And I'm just going to continue fast forwarding even more. Of course, I've been fast forwarding this whole video. I'm going to go extra fast here, and I'm just evening it all out. Now you can just paint on your artwork, or you can add extra embellishments. I'm going to show you how to add extra embellishments. My artist, I'm going to do Georgia O'Keeffe, who made lots of flowers. So I'm going to add a relief, and to do that I cut it out of clay, score marks so that it will glue on. That's too big, so I need to cut it down a little bit more. And I'm just using a very sharp pencil to cut. Okay, I measured it, it looks good, so I'm going to do score marks on my cup very carefully. That extra glue it on really well, measure it, score marks, glue, and glue it on. Then I want to go through and I want to make sure that I don't have anything that sticks out, any extra score marks. I can add some extra embellishments and details with a pencil by just incising it, digging lines into it. And I'm just going to use my slip and finish up any roughness or any coil marks. Remember, you don't have to do those extra embellishments, but you can if you want to. And now I'm going to put my name in it, put it in the cup, and be done. And now it's all set and ready to be fired.